Hi, Steve Lackmeyer here with another edition of OKC Central. Today we're here with Diane Coady, a veteran gallery owner here in Paseo. Diane, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for speaking with me.
Well, you know, we've done Paseo making a comeback stories now for a quarter century, so let's not do that. But tell me a little bit about what it was like here in the early days. You've been around for, what, 18 years?
Mm-hmm. Well, Paseo's here. There is no comeback. We have done nothing but go up for the last 20 years. So we constantly improve. In the early days, about half of the street was boarded up. There were a lot of artists who were still here who were from the 70s and 80s who were graphic designers, and gradually this has become more and more a fine arts area with the advent of digital print. These studios have high ceilings and great light, and so there are a lot more painters and photographers than there used to be down here.
And you have a lot going on here. It seems like every month you've got the art walk, and of course you've got the live music events at the Paseo, you've got Galileo. I mean, tell me about all that.
Well, we've become a full-service arts community now. There are 3 eateries on the street. You're right, live music almost every night, and the place is hopping until 2 in the morning. Several of us are here about 5 or 6 every morning because we have to have work time before we open to the public. The area has grown to over 60 artists. I'm one of the few studios that has only one artist in it, but some have as many as a dozen artists, and they sponsor shows. Some of the individual artists have guest artists who come in every month, so there's always something new to see. We are pleased to say that we are recognized largely as the artist community, not only by the public, but by other artists. And so we have performing artists, musicians who come down. But for instance, this weekend, we are having a beach party. Molly O'Connor, who is an artist and also works with the State Arts Council, is bringing down a live presentation piece. We will have chalk art at the September Art Walk, so we have performance art going on. So there's a lot for people to see and do when they come down, especially on the gallery night.
Now, you know, it amazes me every time I come down here. It seems like more and more of the area is being redeveloped, homes being renovated, new homes being built. And yet, there's one building in particular I've got to ask you about, the old Paseo Plunge. Is there any hope for that? I mean, what would you like to see happen there?
Oh, well, almost anything, but I hesitate when I say such a thing. The area is huge, and it has a lot of history, so it would be great if someone could buy the place with a nod to the history, just even if it's memorabilia. There are so many people who come to Paseo who are maybe in their 70s who swam at the plunge or who remember that it was the spaghetti factory. And I think that a multi-use site would be great that tip the hat to artists, but also to entertainment for the public. And it's even been talked about having a few living sites as well.
It really is the only spot left along the core of the area, isn't it?
It is. As a matter of fact, we're almost bulging just directly outside the perimeters of what is officially Paseo. At 30th and Walker, we now have a theater, and it's quite a wonderful theater. It seats 45, and it's called Ghostlight Theater. They're presently showing Glengarry Glen Ross. So the fact that we have added theater to our Paseo community has made us, as I said, almost full service.
Well, I didn't even know about the theater. That's just great news. Well, thanks for visiting with us. If you want to get downtown development news, visit my blog, www.okccentral.com. For all your latest news, weather, and sports, go to News OK. And for all your restaurant listings, festivities, and events, WIMGO. Mayonnaise, spelled without the I, ironically might have been the word that finally triggered a resurgence of Doc Nichols' once proud Spanish village, an area now known as the Paseo. It was 1970, and the shopping district, developed in 1929 by the same man who had built Nichols Hills, have been overrun with hippies. Shops had closed because patrons no longer felt safe navigating among drug dealers, junkies, and transients. In May 1970, the city was bewildered as a mayonnaise cult emerged wearing white armbands and leaving their mayonnaise mark on Paseo Drive. Over the next couple of years, police began a crackdown, and the slow resurgence of Paseo began. Artists began opening up in empty shops, and the first Paseo Arts Festival was hosted in 1976. Over the next quarter century, dozens of comeback stories were written about the district. It had its ups and downs throughout the 1980s. Citizens were stunned when El Chico, which opened in 1946 and was considered the flagship of the chain, closed in 1987. Residents were also heartbroken when the Spaghetti Factory, where customers could make their own pizzas, closed in the 1980s as well. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, the Paseo struggled with crime and dilapidated buildings, but artists continued to reinvest in the area, with one, Tom Lee, even buying a centuries-old church from Canada and moving it to an empty lot where it became his studio. Over the past decade, Paseo has evolved into a thriving arts district where poetry is read at Galileo, fine dining is enjoyed at Paseo Grill, and live music is mixed with pizza at Sauced. Artists who have established galleries on the Strip, meanwhile, open their doors on the first Friday of each month for the Paseo Art Walk, truly a mini festival attended by hundreds of people regardless of the weather. These pictures and more can be obtained through Pictopia at News OK.